Coming up on tonight's episode of The Goldilocks Zone, we are doing our first rapid-fire episode, and we couldn't think of a better theme than breakfast foods. That's right, we're going to debate your breakfast staples from coffee and OJ to bagels and Pop-Tarts. We're covering it all as quickly as we can. We're getting through a lot this episode's jam-packed, so we might as well start. It's The Goldilocks Zone, and we're going to enter it right now. You're entering The Goldilocks Zone, episode number 7. Recorded March 24th, 2015. Part of a well-balanced breakfast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Goldilocks Zone. I'm Sean Jennings, and I am joined by our very own Captain Crunch. He is Mr. Matt Mariani. Sir, how are we doing this week?
We're doing just swell, Mr. Sean. How are we doing on your end?
I am disappointed we missed last week. That is on me. I actually was home sick from work that day, so we weren't doing the show. But
you and your germs.
I'm slightly less sick this week, so
all right.
We'll do our best to keep you out there entertained. We appreciate you guys watching the show. We do this every week on our website, GoldilocksShow.com. There you'll get audio, video, and links to us on iTunes, the RSS feed if you want to subscribe. We're in most major podcasting apps, including my personal favorite, Overcast, as well as on YouTube. And you can follow us at Goldilocks Show on Twitter, which is a great place to keep up to date when the shows get published and the things we're doing, and if we have any questions we want to pose to the audience. Now that we've said that, let's take a second and look back at last week's question before we get into this week's topic. Last week we did our big Democrat-themed primary show. We did our Fantasy League pick, which we'll have to see how that plays out. But we asked a question to you. We said, if you had the option of voting for a computer that had infinite wisdom versus a potentially flawed human being, which would you vote for president? It's an interesting debate. Matt and I talked about this. Matt, where do you fall on this split?
Now, it may be surprising to, I don't know, I guess to some of the listeners at home, but I'm actually very much in favor of a technocracy. Now, what that means is that computers, robots, animatronic creations of humanity would actually have control over the government. So in this election, I'm definitely going with super intelligent computer. Wow,
that is, Matt, I've known you for a few years, and that certainly surprises me that that's your answer. But yeah, I mean, I listen, I see the advantages to having the computers run things, but for me, it's all about, I'm not going to pull a Terminator and say, oh, they're going to get smart and start replicating and kill mankind. No, but the problem I have is, how many times have you been on a website and, your order didn't go through, or it didn't format just right, or, things just didn't work. And that's because there was a little error of code somewhere in this massive site of whatever you're doing. That's really the problem I have with having a computer run things, is computers make a lot of really smart decisions, but the one time they make a bad one, I like to think a human wouldn't have made that mistake. Now, we talked about this last week, I think off air, but the thing I do like about the computer is it does still have to function within our democracy, so it doesn't automatically run everything. It still has to, Congress still passes the laws and the computer can veto them, but has executive orders, all those kinds of things that go with today's society. So I think that's makes me a little more comfortable with computers in charge.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be an absolute technocracy. We would still have our system of checks and balances in place.
Oh my God! Could we have computer Congress and computer Supreme Court?
I don't know about that.
Could we elect computers? Like computer A runs against computer B, but like only in your local area, and it's programmed to say really nice things about the small area of the country it represents.
I am here in Pawnee, Indiana. You have a nice park here, y'all.
Someone needs to make like a show or something with. I would watch this. This sounds hilarious.
We'll have computer Democrats and computer Republicans battling it out.
Yep. They'll have to debate each other, and then it'll go to the computer Supreme Court, and they'll always be split.
Yeah,
Oh my
that would be
God.
a very inefficient Supreme Court.
But I bet the whole process, right? Like all of the year's government work would be done in like an hour, right?
That's right.
Because at
I
least
think
they'd
it would.
be,
I think their capability of just getting things done,
or not
efficiency.
done, right? They'd be programmed to disagree, but they would just do it a lot faster.
Yeah, yeah. The decisions would be made like that.
So, like in 1 hour, we
Right?
know everything for the year, and many things didn't pass. A few did, and there you go. It's over.
They never have to go on vacation, so there would never be any question of a president computer taking a trip to Martha's Vineyard or to a Crawford Ranch.
I think this is great. Think of the
They would
cost
just
savings.
keep working. There
Wow.
would be no Congress would never have to go out of session. It would always be in session because computers don't need breaks.
Oh my God, Matt, you have sold
Like it.
me on this idea. I am sold.
You're doing a 180,
I absolutely am. I am
right?
voting computers 20 what 28 something like that.
2016.
Yeah,
Computers 2020.
computers
I think
2020
that's a pretty cool year to induct the
to
first
give to give computers control of our government. Yes,
2020. We're gonna have a special midterm election.
where you can
Never
vote for
before
like human
done.
government and computer government. It's like a state ballot issue.
I like it.
That's great. We'll have to get a petition started and get some signatures to get it on the ballot. I love it. Wow, outstanding. Let's move on to something a little
But
more sane. No,
you know
go
what?
ahead.
You know what I was gonna say. You know what computers can't do,
What can't they
Sean?
do, Matt?
Computers can't enjoy a well balanced breakfast.
And that's why they will always be inferior to man. I think we can
All
say
right.
that. We,
I think we could say that.
Matt, I lived with you for a year. I like to
did.
think you're a pretty big proponent of breakfast.
I love my breakfast, and I wouldn't give it up for anything in the world, really.
And I sometimes eat breakfast when I get around to it. So I'm not as big of a breakfast fan, but breakfast apparently I've been told is the most important meal of the day.
That is true. Very
Decided
much
somebody.
so. The doctors. I'm not sure which doctors.
4 out of
The
5 doctors.
They've decided. No, that's dental plaque
Ah.
toothpaste.
Everyone
That's-
agrees breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
I always wonder who that 1 out of 10 doctors is who's going to willingly disagree with the 9 out of 10 about dental care.
I think it's just
Who is that guy?
it's just one of those statistical things. Because honestly, my guess is they surveyed like 1,000, and 10 of them said they wouldn't do it. So it's 1 out of 10. But
But then who are those 10?
I-
Because that's a pretty big deficit against them. There's a lot of dentists who are saying, yeah, this toothpaste is great. And then 10 of them are all of a sudden, no, I don't agree with that. Maybe they're on the take
that's what I mean. There's a good
from a different company.
in the film Super Size Me. I don't know if you remember. Morgan Spurlock calls a bunch of nutritionists and said, "How often should you eat fast food?" And like 10 of them said you can eat it every day. Like, who are those nutritionists? They clearly can't be very good at their jobs, but they exist. So
Those are the ones who got their degrees from the University of the Golden Arches.
yeah, exactly. Well, we have a big list here to get through, and Matt, we're going to do our first ever rapid fire episode. Okay.
Ready?
What this means is we tend to do long like statements. You'll go and then I'll go and we'll talk for a couple minutes and then back and forth, and we usually have a good discussion, but that's not very quick, right? We usually get like one topic in like an hour. We're going to go faster. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to tee up a breakfast item. We'll take turns going first. I'll say either over, under, appropriate, and then I'll give a couple sentences why. And then I'll ship it right over to you. You give your under, over, appropriate, a couple sentences, and then we'll move on to the next one. Again, this is rapid fire. So opinions, maybe a little debate, but then we're going to move on to the next one. How's that sound?
That sounds pretty great. We're going to have the efficiency capabilities of 2 computer presidents on this show today.
At least 2. Yes. All right, we got 15 items. We're going to kick it off with a staple cold cereal. This is your Captain Crunch, your Kix, your Boo Berry, whatever cold cereal you like. Cold cereal. I will start us off, and I'm going to say cold cereal is overrated, especially today. I think most cold cereals today either fall in the super healthy or super unhealthy category, and there's really nothing in the middle. And the problem I have is the super unhealthy cereals aren't very good. They're not even good for crappy cereals. They're just not good. Like if you had Lucky Charms recently, the marshmallows are garbage. They suck. And then the healthy cereals aren't much better. So for me, cold cereal, overrated. Matt?
All right, I'm glad that you went overrated because for cold cereal, I'm actually going to go ahead and say underrated. I think that the market of cold cereal has sort of been taken over by whichever cereal gets the most ad space. I think that's your Lucky Charms, that's your Cheerios, and that's your Captain Crunch.
Mm.
And even Captain Crunch has kind of faltered over the years. But I think there's a ton of really fantastic cereals out there that I remember from my own childhood, such as Oreo O's, which is one of the crappier
That was
children's
awful.
cereals, diabetes in a bowl. And I guess my personal favorite cereal would have to be well, my personal favorite children's cereal, that is Fruit Loops. And I think that Fruit Loops are a highly underrated cereal. I think that they don't really get the attention they deserve. Kids today they're getting a little bit fancier with their palates. I think they're moving on to
they want gourmet cereals?
bigger and well, not even cereals. I think they're moving on to just different
Other options. I agree.
croissants and stuff. I mean,
Yes.
kids today
And we're going to
much more refined taste.
Yes, and I will say, did you know that all the Fruit Loops in the box have the same flavor? Each color is not a different flavor. They all taste the same.
Yeah, I knew that.
A lot of
I'm
people
totally
don't know
okay
that.
with that.
No,
They all
I
taste
like
the same.
Fruit Loops too. My guilty pleasure was Reese's Puffs, which are god awful, but I loved them.
I missed those. You know what? That's my favorite.
Man.
I've changed my mind.
Those were they were styrofoam. They were awful.
It's
we're-
all styrofoam.
We're going to continue on. We talked cold cereal. Now we're going to talk hot cereal, oatmeal. Matt, where do you fall on oatmeal?
Oh, see, this is a hard one for me because I have this personal grudge against oatmeal. I've never liked it. Yeah, I've never really grown up liking oatmeal. So that being said, I'm going to judge it as objectively as I possibly can, and I'm going to say that oatmeal it's an appropriately rated breakfast item because there are a lot of people who still enjoy oatmeal, and I think you can spruce it up a little bit. You could add chocolate chips to your oatmeal. Some people add raisins. I like to chop up bananas and mix it in with honey and maybe a little bit of sugar to make it taste as less like oatmeal as I possibly can. Like it's like this banana-y, chocolatey mash that I'd eat that sometimes.
Nice.
Over to you, John.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think, I agree, I'm not a big oatmeal guy. I'm going to say slightly underrated purely on the health benefits. Because if you think about it, we just talked about cold cereal, most of which is terrible for you. But people eat it because it's fast and convenient. Oatmeal, to some degree, is relatively fast. Compared to some, like sausage or bacon or bagels or whatever. I mean, it's pretty quick.
Especially with the advent of the Keurig machine.
Well,
you can heat up your water so quickly.
Exactly. But oatmeal is much healthier for you than the sugars and the processed crap that's in cold cereal. So I think it's slightly under just because of the health benefits, but oatmeal is on this list of things we're going to talk about probably the most boring of foods. And yes, you can add things, but I think just saying oatmeal, no one ever gets really excited for oatmeal. I think Matt just dropped off the call, so we are going to continue on while Skype tries to get him back on the line. While we try to get the call back, we were having connection problems right before the show. I was really concerned it wasn't going to work when we got on air, and unsurprisingly, it doesn't work, and it's not working. So we're going to try and get Matt back on the call very soon here. I'm going to actually pause the recording here for a minute, and we'll be right back. And we're back. We got Matt back on the line.
That was some good oatmeal.
Yeah, I thought you left to go get some.
I had to demonstrate how quick it was to make a bowl of oatmeal. So I went and I ate it up already, and now I'm back.
Well, hopefully you saved room for our next one, muffins. We're going to talk muffins. I'll go first on this one. To me, muffins, underrated. Muffins is probably in like my top 3 breakfast foods of all time. and it is because it mixes a lot of really great things about breakfast foods, right? One, it's baked, and it's carb heavy, which I like in the morning. I like bagels and that kind of thing. Two, you can make them 1,000 different ways, which is great. You can make them with fruit. You can make them cinnamon. You can make them with whatever you want to put in chocolate chips. Make them a million different ways. And the last thing I really love is the variety of texture, simply because of the way they're shaped. You know, a bagel is a bagel all the way through, right? But a muffin, you get kind of the crispy top with the soft and fluffy bottom. Oh, I love me a good bagel. So absolutely, you cannot underrate this enough. Very good. I like muffins. Matt, what are your thoughts on muffins?
I think they're underrated. I'm going to underrate them. I think that the thing about muffins is that when you go to a conference or when you go to any meeting that takes place in the morning, what are they going to serve you? Muffins. It's going to be a platter of muffins.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they're bran muffins, and that's disappointing.
Yes.
Blueberry muffins, also pretty disappointing. The only muffin that I would say is appropriately rated for being really good, homemade muffins right out of the oven. Delicious, yes, no matter what they are.
Absolutely.
Except for bran.
Yes.
So the only muffin that I'm going to say is underrated is the coveted orange muffin.
Ooh.
Now, those muffins are delicious, and I would eat them for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, at any conference, any time. And it would make that conference a lot more interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I agree too. Muffins, you can get some really wacky, like cherry. You ever have like a cherry muffin are good?
Yeah, those are good too.
You can do pistachio muffins. I mean, you can do anything with muffins. Man,
Walnut.
muffins are good. I want a muffin.
I want a muffin.
You got oatmeal. Where's my muffin?
You can make oatmeal muffins too.
Yes,
I'm sure you can.
Oh,
I don't see why.
With some raisins in them. Oh, that sounds
Cinnamon.
good. Oh, God, I'm so hungry. Speaking of hungry, our next topic, and Matt, you're going to start with this one. It is a breakfast staple, probably the trendiest on our list, and that would be bacon. We're going to talk bacon. Matt, I have a guess, but you tell me where you stand with bacon.
Oh my goodness. Well, personally, I do love bacon, and I really don't want to stress enough how underrated bacon is. I think that I mean, keep in mind it does get a lot of good press, and then it's so popular. But there's just a lot. There's such a wide market for the things you can do with that bacon. You can put it in waffles. You can put it in pancakes. I've had it in pancakes, by the way. Very good. It adds like a crunch to the pancake. You can break it up and then sprinkle it on anything, pretty much, and make it better. That's the thing about bacon. One of my favorite foods in the whole world, and I don't know if this constitutes as a breakfast food. I guess it could be maybe in some parts of the world. Are dates? You take dates like the fruit,
mm-hmm.
and you wrap it in bacon and then roast it.
Wow,
it's amazing. So I'm going to say underrated, just because of the things you can do.
Yeah, I listen. I absolutely agree. And the other great thing about bacon is, even going beyond that, bacon of everything we'll probably talk about has the most diversity outside of breakfast. Because you can have bacon for breakfast, have bacon on your sandwich at lunch, bacon in your dinner, and you can have a bacon drink at night. And so bacon, I think, gets a lot of credit for that. But for me, bacon is flat out overrated. And here's why. There's nothing wrong with bacon. Bacon tastes good. Bacon is great for breakfast. I agree with bacon. But this is overrated in the same way Journey's Don't Stop Believin' is overrated. It's a good song, but you overplayed it to death. When bacon became trendy and they started putting bacon in literally everything, and then it became like a joke about putting bacon in everything. It is overrated. Bacon is not the greatest food on earth, as many people will try to tell you. It's good. It's very good. I'm happy to say that. But don't act like bacon is the second coming of Jesus, because that's just that really bugs me how people like bacon. Oh my God, bacon! Like, no, it's just calm down, people. It's just pork. Calm down. So bacon, good, overrated.
Okay. I don't know. I think I might have to just eat all the bacon brownies on my own now.
Please, Matt, you can have mine. Go for it. But now we got to talk about bacon's brother, which is, when given the option, what I usually get, which is sausage. Sausage for breakfast. I think sausage is, I'm going to say, slightly underrated. I think most people acknowledge it's good, but it kind of gets lost behind bacon, and that's kind of a shame because I think sausage is a really great breakfast meat. It's a lot heartier than bacon. Bacon's great because it's thin, or if you get it thinner cut, it's crispy. But for me, sausage is just a little more hearty, a little more to bite into than bacon. So I think sausage is a little underrated.
Yeah, I would say that sausage is appropriately rated. I think that when you're talking about sausage, right, you're really talking about like two distinct entities of sausage, because you have link sausage and you also have a patty sausage.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that the link sausage is overrated and the patty sausage is underrated, if that makes sense. That's how I would rank my sausage. Listen, the link sausage, you could put it in. That's almost up there with your bacon theory, with popularity. I think that you can put it in a bun, and it could be a hot dog, and you could have it for dinner, and it could be sausage. That's another type of food that you can have any time of the day. And you could have your sausage milkshake for dessert.
Yep.
But with the patty, I think that's a highly, highly underrated piece of breakfast. I think that you can take the sausage patty, you can put it in a bun, you can make it a burger. You could take the sausage patty, you could chop it up, you put it in an omelet. You can have a delicious sausage omelet.
Well, it's just a more exciting ground beef. Anything you put ground beef in, you should put sausage in because it's better.
Right. Sausage patty is it's just exciting. It's an underrated, exciting piece of breakfast.
Matt, I had never thought of that, but you know what? The sausage patty is the indie darling of breakfast.
It really is.
And it needs to go mainstream.
Along with the pork roll.
Oh, the pork roll. Yeah, that's more of a regional thing, though, isn't it? The pork roll.
Yeah, that's a Jersey thing.
That's a Jersey thing. Joe always was having me eat who makes that? The famous manufacturer. I can't remember.
Jersey. Anywhere in Jersey.
No, there's a specific company that you ask for, and you can go into restaurants and ask for it.
Tony Soprano's pork roll.
Tony Soprano's brand pork roll.
Sponsored by Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, and Bon Jovi. Yes, exactly. Chris Christie endorses it. Let's continue on because we're gonna get back into the light, the fluffy, the pancake, the flapjack of sorts. I think I went first on that last one, so I think this one's your turn, Matt. What are your thoughts on pancakes?
I'm going to jump right into the pancake, and I'm going to say highly, highly underrated. The pancake is underrated because similar to the pork sausage patty, you can do so much with the pancake, and that is yet to be explored. I mean, think about it. You have IHOP, obviously, but how many pancake chains are there where they make custom pancakes, where they make like custom batter that you can put like crazy stuff in it? I mean, like bacon, obviously, but like imagine like a cheese pancake, or imagine like a milkshake pancake that you can get in 3 different flavors: with chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. You could do like a crazy amount of things. You can make a pancake batter with yogurt, or you can make it with tofu, or you can make it with cocoa powder. Like, how many things can you do with the pancake batter that has yet to be explored? A honey pancake. How about that? Eggnog in the pancake for the holiday treat. How about that?
You are a madman, Matt.
There are just so many things you can do with a pancake. You can make a savory pancake, similar to savory crepes. You can put like chickpeas in it. There's so many things. So just so many things with the pancake. So it's highly underrated.
Yeah, I think pancakes have fallen behind the same reason other things fall behind. I think there are trendier foods that tend to rise above it, and I think that's just because of the pancake's simplicity. It is batter on a griddle. You cook. You can add things, but at its core, it is very, very dead simple. And I think people forget that. And that's why I think when you look at a list of breakfast foods and you go by pancakes, you're like, well, it's just a pancake, right? I'm going to probably, your average person, just douse it in maple syrup and butter and just eat it. And there's nothing exciting about pancakes. But I think you're right. I think we're ready for a pancake revival.
Yeah.
A sort of where crepes got really trendy a while back, and then there were creperies and all this stuff. I think there needs to be like a pancake hipster sort of thing, because I do agree that I think the pancake is underrated. I don't know if I'd go very, very underrated, but I definitely agree. I think the pancake is underrated and needs more credit than it gets.
It's a huge untapped market.
I think it is. I think it is. Maybe we'll have to get in the pancake business.
There we go.
Next up, we've got French toast. We're going to talk about, or as freedom toast, as George Bush would call it. I think, for me, French toast is a little underrated, just because, and it's really mostly my personal opinion. I just really like French toast. I think it's really, to me, the advantage to French toast over a pancake is I like the height of the French toast. For me, you have to have like 4 pancakes to equal the height of especially if you use thick cut bread, which I like to do with my French toast. The other thing I like about French toast is you can stuff it, which is how I get it a lot, especially with like a cream cheese and fruit. Makes it really good. So I think, and actually a coworker told me this the other day, and I didn't even realize this. You can use any bread you want to make French toast. Like, you can make banana bread French toast.
Yeah.
Like, I would have never thought of that. I was like shocked. Like, my mind had just never put 2 and 2 together. So French toast, I think it's a little underrated for me. I think French toast is really great, and it's just not that exciting to most people, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
Well, here I come to crush your dreams, Mr. Sean, because I'm going to say that French toast is highly overrated.
Whoa.
See, French toast, I mean, where do I begin? The center is delicious, sure. Everybody likes a good center of the French toast. But the crust, what's the deal with that crust? It's such a weird texture. I hate the crust of French toast.
No.
I disprefer the crust of normal bread. But when you prepare French toast, the crust is just uneven. It doesn't really taste like it belongs in the bread, and it kind of ruins the experience. Also, sometimes it takes up a lot of the syrup. Not good. Another aspect of French toast that I have to say I dislike is, okay, you can stuff the French toast, which is awesome. It's awesome to get at diners. It's awesome to get when you're out. But honestly, on an average work day, who has the time to prepare stuffed French toast
with
cream cheese and
I'm
strawberry?
I'm going to cut you off here, because I'll let you have the crust thing, but you were the one just talking about making chickpea pancakes. Let's just be real here.
See, that was in my fantasy pancake emporium.
But French toast, it's real. There's no fantasy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about like a regular French toast that happens to be stuffed with cream cheese for like a breakfast before you go to the office. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp it with my overrated stamp.
Oof. This may be the biggest disagreement I think we have all show. Because I really like French toast, but...
Yeah, and I'm going to stand by my bacon.
And you know what, Matt? You're allowed to do that, and that's what's great about this nation. Thanks to President Computer keeping our freedoms alive.
God bless President Computer.
That's exactly right. French toast, homemade, I think delicious. But we're going to move on to something decidedly less homemade, and that would be America's favorite, the Pop-Tart.
Ooh,
the boxed pastry. Of course, there's the name brand Pop-Tart, but you may know it from Toaster Pastries store brand. Who knows if that's your taste? I think you get to go first on this one, Matt. So where do you stand on Pop-Tarts?
I'm glad. It's kind of a curveball here with the Pop-Tart. I wasn't really thinking along the lines of a pre-made breakfast like the Pop-Tart is. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the Pop-Tart is a disaster and therefore highly overrated. It's bad. I mean, like, there's like almost no filling. The filling just tastes like straight up sugar. I mean, maybe a little bit flavored with artificial crap. So I hate Pop-Tarts, really. And by the way, I might just be a little bit begrudged because I don't know if you heard, but a week or two ago, they came out with the peanut butter and jelly Pop-Tart.
Oh,
which was my idea that I had like 4 years ago. I came out with that.
And they stole it.
Me, the royalties.
Oh my God.
I said they have a peanut butter Pop-Tart, and they have a peanut butter and chocolate Pop-Tart. Why not make a peanut butter and jelly Pop-Tart? And you can just use the raspberry filling that's in a regular Pop-Tart. And now they did it. And I'm sure it tastes like crap. Your thoughts?
Where are your royalties on that, Matt? Jeez. No, listen, I think we're absolutely in agreement. Pop-Tarts blow. They are awful. But the biggest problem I have with Pop-Tarts is I don't think anyone really says they're good. I've never heard anyone say Pop-Tarts are a quality product. The problem I have is that people admit they suck and then still eat them. Like, people, you have options. You are a free human being
like they're
who can make consumer choices about what you consume. We are today going to get through as many breakfast foods as we can. You can eat any of them that aren't Pop-Tarts. Like, right. I think legally it should not be allowed to be called breakfast food because it's not. It's just awful. Pop-Tarts are just the worst.
I know. I mean, like we just said, we live in this free country where we're allowed to pick any breakfast we want. President Human doesn't have to come down and tell you what to do, tell you how to live your life. We have freedom.
That's
President
right.
Computer, 2020.
So we've talked about Pop-Tarts, but now I want to talk about their partner in crime, the toaster strudel. Right? The frozen version, essentially, of a Pop-Tart. Flaky pastry, filling, and you get the little packet of icing you get to put on top. I get to start toaster strudels. For me, toaster strudels, I think I'm going to stick right in the middle with appropriate. I think people acknowledge it's not a fresh-baked breakfast good. Hell, you cook it out of your freezer and put it in the toaster. But for what it is, it's actually not that bad. And you do get to have the fun. You put the little icing on the top and you eat it, and it's miles above a Pop-Tart. But like, toaster strudel to me is the like luxury version of the Pop-Tart. Like, Pop-Tart is like for the super lazy, and the toaster strudel is for the kind of lazy. So for me, I think toaster strudels appropriate. They're good for what they are. There's nothing wrong with them. People want to eat them. Hey, good for them. That's kind of my thought on the toaster strudel.
So you're thinking the toaster strudel is kind of like the Cadillac option of pre-bought.
Yeah, but the problem is it's kind of indie, right? So it's kind of like Pop-Tart is the mass market, like top 40 breakfast food, where we admit it's probably not that great. But then you have like the independent alt-rock toaster strudel, who those in the know get it's good. House. Yes, exactly. And we get it. The rest of the people, they can live with their Pop-Tarts. We'll get the good stuff. At least that's my thought.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I would say that the toaster strudel I would rank that appropriate. However, the icing, I'm not going to say under, over, appropriate. I'm going to say that it sucks. The icing sucks. I mean, I really hope that the executives at Toaster Strudel are listening to me right now, because how you don't get enough icing for a bite on the Toaster Strudel. How are you going to tell me that that's enough to fill up an entire pastry? It just doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, while I really like the Toaster Strudel, I appreciate that it comes in different flavors, apple and raspberry, I think, are the only two. I wish that they had more flavors.
I think they have more than just those two.
Those are the only two I've ever seen. I think they should put banana, maybe like a banana cinnamon flavor. All right, that's just my thought. Could also maybe do a coconut.
Here, man, I can tell you the flavors that have come and gone with Toaster Strudel. Are you ready?
I've seen with my own eyes just those two, but go ahead.
Apple cream Danish, blueberry, Boston cream pie, cinnamon roll, cream cheese and strawberry, cherry, cream cheese, raspberry, strawberry, wild berry, watermelon, which sounds awful.
Watermelon.
S'mores, chocolate, snickerdoodle, and pumpkin pie.
I'm thinking I really like to try the watermelon.
And that's right, they had toaster scrambles. Do you remember toaster scrambles where they put cheese, egg, and bacon in them?
It was the Hot Pocket.
That's messed up.
It was like a classier Hot Pocket. One thing I do have to say about the Toaster Strudel company, though, I really like those commercials that have the little yodeling guy, the little yodeling Swiss boy.
Yes. He's
Although
a
they creep me
strudel.
out a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, we got to move on. We're hustling through these here. We are not going to get to all of them, but Lord knows we're going to try. Let's talk about.
Well, see, that's why this is only part of a balanced breakfast. Part one of a balanced
Oh my
breakfast.
God.
The next week could be part two.
Waffles, Matt. Waffles. Where do we stand on waffles? I think you get to go first on the waffle.
I cannot praise the waffle enough. I love the waffle. I love the just everything about it. You pour the syrup on it, and it catches, and each bite has like the perfect amount of syrup, which you can't even achieve in a pancake. And the butter you can put, I love waffles. Don't get me wrong, but as far as their level of achievement, I have to say they've set the bar pretty low. So I'm going to say that waffles are appropriate because you can't stuff a waffle.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. You
Yes,
can't stuff a waffle.
You can. I've seen it. You can stuff a waffle. You have to make them extra thick, but yes, you can stuff a waffle.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I feel like waffles generally should be thinner. Because, I mean, except for maybe Belgian waffles. Those are pretty good. You could put ice cream on it. I guess that's a little bit of versatility. But really, where is the uniqueness that you get out of like a pancake? A pancake on the outside is such a basic food. Just a round, like, ball of batter that's cooked. But, like, you could do so much with it. And I don't feel like you have that same versatility in a waffle. So I'm going to say that they're appropriate because they're delicious, and oh my God. I mean, given the choice, I would go with a waffle over the pancake any day. But come on, we're talking about what can a breakfast item do? And
so versatility is big when you make your decision.
Versatility is everything.
Wow.
My decisions.
But see, I think I would make an argument that anything a pancake can do, a waffle can do better. For me, the waffle is the premium pancake because it's really the same batter. You can make the exact same batter, and either you pour it on a flat top or you pour it in a waffle maker. And the bonus of the waffle maker is the shape is better, right? And you said it yourself. The little squares, they hold the toppings. It's genius. It's like so smart. It's like whoever invented the ice cream cone or the hot dog bun. It's like you took a bread and you wrapped it around a Frankfurter. Like, you've upgraded the bread to make it now better than it was before. So that, to me, the waffle is the upgraded pancake. But I'm not buying this argument about lack of versatility in the waffle, because I think anything you can do in a pancake, you can do in a waffle.
I think more on the savory end. What can you do that's savory with a waffle?
Well, what can you do that's savory with a pancake?
You could put stuff on. You could put meat on it and wrap it up, and like you have like a sausage. All right, just thinking small.
Okay.
Take the sausage and then you wrap a pancake around the breakfast sausage, and you've got like a breakfast hot dog. You can't do that with the waffle.
Yes, you can. Taco Bell did that.
That's crazy. Taco Bell is crazy.
They had the waffle taco. They did it, Matt. They're did
crazy.
it.
Yeah, but they're crazy. But it's Taco Bell, man. That's a whole new thing.
I never thought we'd be talking about Taco Bell on our breakfast discussion, but I guess I was wrong.
I mean, they launched that whole big breakfast menu.
They did,
like,
and they're still they're doing a biscuit. They're doing a biscuit taco where the taco shell's made of biscuit.
Oh, I have to give that one a try.
I was about to say that does seem right up your alley. Next, we're going to talk about croissants. Croissant is a breakfast food. I have no idea whose turn it is. I'm just going to say very quickly, I think it's overrated. Listen, I'm all for the flaky, buttery, pastry sort of thing. I think really the only thing croissants have going for it is the shape, and I think the shape's overrated. So I'm going to say croissants, they're overrated. They're just
That's
fine.
fair. That's fair, because I would also say that they're overrated. I think that, in my ranking system with versatility, they fit in pretty nicely. You can do a lot with the croissant. You can cover it with chocolate. You can cover it with honey. You can cover it with butter.
You can stuff them.
You can stuff it with the meat, and you can stuff it with the cheese. It's pretty good. But you can do all that with a biscuit, and I think that the biscuit is a much more concise and consistent croissant. I think that the croissant it's flaky, which is one of the things that people like about it. But why? Why do you like something that's flaky? That means that you're going to lose a lot of it. It's
greasy. It's
greasy. It's going to make a mess of your hands. It's going to make a mess of your lap. No.
Yeah,
No,
I agree.
croissant is overrated.
Biscuits are better. Biscuits are better. And Dan Miller wanted us to talk about crumpets.
Oh,
Because he
good.
was just over in Europe for 4 weeks, and he said you got to talk. He was espousing his love for crumpets.
Oh, yes. I love crumpets.
But
I think the crumpet is superior.
Is a crumpet a breakfast food?
Yes, absolutely. It's for breakfast or for tea or for snack and dessert sometimes. Crumpets are great.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a crumpet.
No, they're good. They're like actually they're an even more consistent biscuit. It's like a very, very tightly packed bread, and it's very sweet, and you can have raisins in it. And I guess I'm trying to think of something that it can be related to on our side of the pond. I guess it's kind of like cornbread,
Oh, I hate cornbread.
but like much tighter, and it doesn't taste the same at all.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually not really like cornbread at all.
All right. Well,
I don't know.
this discussion's going nowhere fast. So let's just continue on because we do have more to talk about. And we are going to discuss. Excuse me. Let's see what's left here. We've done a lot of baked stuff, so I'm going to jump around on the list a little bit. Let's talk about eggs, Matt. You can't have a breakfast discussion and not talk about eggs?
That's right.
That is a breakfast staple. Matt, what are your thoughts on eggs?
Eggs have a very, very, very high versatility count. So I would actually have to go ahead and say that eggs are underrated because you can do so much with the egg. And if you don't like, the thing about the egg is that when people tell me they don't like eggs, I give them a look because I'm like, how do you not like egg? There's so much you can do with an egg that it's somebody somewhere is going to like a different variation.
Yeah,
of
it just
the
means
egg.
they haven't
Deviled
had the
egg-
right egg yet.
Exactly. Deviled eggs, poached eggs,
Egg
omelet,
salad.
egg salad, eggs Benedict, eggs with the hollandaise, eggs scrambled eggs with cheese,
Eggs on
scrambled
your
eggs,
face.
egg on your face.
Maybe not that one.
That's if you're President Human and you make a foolish statement at the expense of President Computer, then you get egg on your face. But there's so much you can do with eggs. And I personally love deviled eggs. That's my favorite egg.
Really?
So-
That's your favorite egg?
That's my favorite
Wow,
egg.
I would have never guessed that.
What, I caught you off guard on that one?
Yes. Honestly, I would have
What
never.
did you, pray tell, what did you think my favorite egg was?
I mean, no offense, Matt, but you tend to be a little out there when it comes to food and such. I would probably like over hard or something like really.
I do like that. Overhard's pretty good.
Or I'm trying to think of what other kind of weird egg. Maybe eggs Benedict. I don't know.
Have you ever just cracked the top of the egg off and then like you siphon it through a straw and then you put it in your cereal and then cook that? No?
What are you talking about?
I'm
That's
just
not a
kidding.
thing.
I've never done that. That's not a thing. I would not recommend eating raw eggs at home. Please don't do that.
Oh my god. Don't be like Matt, because he's really insinuating he's done that.
Yes. So case in point, the egg is underrated.
Yeah, I see the egg as excuse me, as appropriately rated, but only because the egg is, I think, highly rated now, and I think it should be, and that's why I'm saying appropriate. So I think, I know for a while everyone was very anti-egg and the cholesterol and be careful, but I really think that's turned around, especially with the advent of things like what are the egg beaters and organic and cage-free have kind of brought people back to eggs where they might have previously left. But I agree. I think eggs are so fantastically versatile, and if eggs disappeared tomorrow off the face of the earth, I think that would be a massive blow to our society, because I think we are a somewhat egg-based society.
I'd like to read your paper when you come out with it. An egg-based society: the story of President Computers America, written by Sean Jennings.
That's my Walking Dead spin-off. It's the end of the world because all the eggs are gone.
We lose all the eggs.
They have to walk around in an eggless society and try to survive.
Oh my
All
gosh!
the drama.
And then they come out with it. They find a nest of eggs, but then they turn out to be raptor eggs. Oh my god!
And then it's Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Oh man, that is awful.
Quite
We're just about out of time, Matt. I want to give you the opportunity. If there's any breakfast food we haven't mentioned that you wanted to get to.
Yes, actually.
Okay.
There is one breakfast food that I think that we kind of glossed over. We probably should have brought it up in the bacon discussion,
Okay.
and that's the Canadian bacon.
Canadian bacon, or as we Americans call it, ham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's any kind of ham in a breakfast setting. I think is highly overrated.
Whoa! That is a complete opposite of what I thought you were going to say. Go on, tell me. I want to hear why.
I'll tell you why. It's because it's like if you're gonna have a Canadian bacon. I've never met somebody who goes into the diner and they give them the choice of bacon, sausage, and Canadian bacon, and then they'd say, "Oh yeah, I'd like the Canadian bacon." No, you usually take the sausage or the bacon. The Canadian bacon is the third party of breakfast meats, and whereas I think the pork roll is far superior and a much better option. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Canadian bacon overrated.
By the way, it's Taylor ham I was thinking of.
Oh yes, Taylor ham.
Taylor ham, the order by name. Yeah, I think for me, Canadian bacon, I'm actually going to say it's a little underrated. I'm not going to say hugely underrated. I think it's underrated, but only because it's lost in the shuffle. I don't think if you look at it purely on its own, if in a world where bacon and sausage didn't exist, I actually think it's a pretty good option, especially because unlike, well, maybe not bacon, sausage might be a little more difficult. I think ham works really well on a breakfast sandwich. I think it works well as a breakfast side. I think it works well. It is somewhat versatile as a breakfast meat. I just think that there's no way it can't live up to. It comes from the same animal bacon and sausage come from. It's just not the good parts that people get excited for. So, I think Canadian bacon's got a bad rap. I think they got the short end of the stick, a raw deal, and I don't think it's really fair to our neighbor from the north.
Yeah, they're much better export. Is socialized medicine.
and not they're not best enough. Wayne Gretzky, free healthcare, not Canadian bacon.
No, and that kid that sings a lot, Michael Cera.
The kid who sings a lot?
Yeah,
when does
he's
Michael
always
Cera
singing
sing?
on that show where he's Justin Bieber. That I was thinking of Justin Bieber, not Michael Cera.
Did you just confuse Justin Bieber and Michael Cera?
Yeah,
that is too perfect.
But then again, I think they are both Canadian, so they look alike.
That is true. That is true. They are both Canadians. They don't look anything alike, but they're both Canadians. I can't think of a better note to end on. We got through 11 breakfast items. That's pretty good.
It is. Wow. Our first rapid fire tournament was a grand success.
I agree. And if you were curious, the ones we didn't get to, and we honestly don't have time to talk about them, but it was bagels, grapefruit, coffee, OJ, and toast were the other ones I had on my list.
Well, I think we got to get to those next week, right? In well-balanced breakfast part 2.
Well, the problem with that is you have to come up with another like 5 or 6 to fill out the episode.
I can do it.
Unless we do the second half on something else.
Part 2 of a well-balanced breakfast.
Okay, Matt, you are in charge of coming up with more breakfast foods to talk about. I wasn't sure if there were going to be more.
I'm going to do it. I already have some ideas.
Okay. Oh boy, this is going to be...
Just wait and see.
This is going to be very terrifying. Well, Matt...
I'll write it down in my notebook.
I thought that was outstanding. Oh my goodness. But let's talk about this week's question, right? So we talked about last week's. We have a question for next week, and it goes like this. Outside of milk, what other liquids would you want to add to your breakfast cereal? Turns out you can have your cereal with any kind of liquid you want, or no liquid at all, honestly. You'd eat it right out of the box. But we're going to ask other liquids that aren't milk, plain milk. What would you do? So we want to hear your opinions at Goldilocks Show on Twitter. You can send them to us. Matt and I will have our opinions next week. I have to really think about this. I don't know what my answer is. You pitched out like 4 or 5 good ones, but I don't know.
I'm looking forward to hearing your responses.
It will be interesting. At Goldilocks Show on Twitter. You can also email us, goldilocksshow@gmail.com. But to get that question and all the show stuff, all the episodes, all the content, all the links, goldilocksshow.com is the website. Get it there. I'll remind everybody we are available for download on iTunes and most major podcasting apps. I personally recommend Overcast if you're looking for a good one on iOS. That's mine of choice, but we're on just about all of them. And we're also, like I said, at Goldilocks Show on Twitter, Facebook.com/Goldilocks Show. We're available on those platforms as well. Matt, anything else you'd like the world to know before we conclude for this evening?
In doing research for this program, I came across a very, very strange suggestion for a breakfast. It involved bananas, it involved eggs, and it involved cornmeal. I do not recommend ever combining those three ingredients, putting them on a stove, and then putting the results in your mouth.
Matt, you didn't do this, did you?
I mean, for the sake of the show, I mean, I would like to say I did not, but for the sake of the show, I felt like it was my duty to try this out. And,
listen, Matt, a big thing I'm working on at work, I do a lot with innovation, and one of the things is risk. How do you feel more comfortable taking risks? Because you do that in business, and it's about celebrating your failures, because you learn from them, and it helps you make better risk decisions in the future. So, Matt, celebrate your failure. What did you learn from this?
I learned that you should never take suggestions from Reddit regarding anything that has to do with food unless you see pictures first.
That should be the golden rule of life in general. Don't take suggestions from Reddit. Oh, that's too good. Wow. Well, thanks to all of you out there. We're gonna be back next week with more breakfast foods. We're gonna do another rapid fire. We're gonna get through them. Matt's gonna come up with what I am certain are interesting suggestions. So come back and join us then. On behalf of Matt, I wish everyone out there a fair good night. We'll see you next week on an all new Goldilocks Zone. Thanks for watching.